Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of the Talk That Talk Show with me, Barry Holmes. And, out of all episodes, I have to say, I'm very, very excited to, tell you guys about the episode that we have planned for you tonight. I feel like over this past couple weeks, it's a little bit different for me because one of the things that we usually have is that the schedule that we normally have has been a little bit off kilter. We've been trying to figure out something consistent as far as with the NFL season coming to into fruition, and with a lot of things going on with scheduling, we really wanted to make sure that we could get something planned for you guys to have maximum capacity and maximum energy for you guys. Big shout out to Ishabad Cranius' Talk That Talk Show. Big shout out to Justin D. I've seen you've been bowling at Bolero, man. Big shout out to you because you continue to get better. And then also a big time shout out to my boy Christian Carr on our Facebook live stream. I want to shout him out because I really got the chance to spend some time with him before we hopped on the air at Brownstone, and it means a lot when you get to see your friends that you don't get a chance to see every day, and to be able to chill and watch football with my boy Dutch and win a parlay and buy everybody shots. It's like the fun thing that you look forward to, and the reason why you like to hang out with your friends and be a part of that is because having Dutch and somebody that I don't get a chance to spend time with every day, we really got to appreciate each other and spend time with each other. So big shout out to you, Dutch. I'm glad you tuned in. And it's funny that we talk about that because the reason why we were actually recording on Sunday today as opposed to Friday, like I said earlier on in the show, we were going to try and transition to a fall NFL schedule, to where we will be recording on Fridays around 7:30, 8 o'clock, depending on what's going on with my personal life. And I'll let you guys know, as always, through all of my social media accounts. But the one thing that I will say is that I thought it was very special because even though I wanted to record on Friday, I wanted to, bend the schedule a little bit to make way for something really special that I think that you guys will 100% appreciate. Now, little do you guys know, but I have a special guest that is going to come here on the show. So I promise you guys, this episode is well worth the wait. But to give you guys a little bit of a background, this guy right here is someone that has supported me with Talk That Talk Show since day one. Somebody that when I was in high school with, I didn't spend a lot of time with. I really, did not. And I think that the big thing that this relationship represents is that even though you may not have been the bestest or, diehard best friends or whatever you want to call it, you can build great relationships. And you can build that through authenticity and loyalty. And one thing is, I've never asked for anything in return, from my boy that I'm going to bring here on the show. But all he has given me is 110% of, just support and anything. Like every day sending me multiple memes, giving me content about things to talk about here on the show. And those are the types of friends that I like to have around me. And like Eric Ebron said, #respect. Big shout out to him. I respect people that go out and grind themselves and are trying to, make their own way in this podcasting thing. It is not easy to come up here and, be 100% vulnerable and be yourself. I'm not doing any editing. This is one take. That's it. This is authentic Barry Holmes. You know what I'm saying? There's not the, the floss or the glam. This is 100% uncut me. And that's what I think always will separate this podcast from any other podcast that you choose to listen to. And this guest that I'm about to bring in has chosen to listen to this every day. And the fact that I have had screenshots from him at 5 in the morning, driving into work, listening to the podcast, that's the reason why he has earned an episode here on the podcast. So coming all the way from Kentucky, biggest shout out to my boy, Brian Szpond.
All right.
Thank you, Barry. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man. All right. So, it's crazy because, like, a lot of people don't know that we have not seen each other since high school back in, like, 08, man. So, like, can you just tell them, like, a little bit about who you are and, kind of how we made this happen?
Yeah. Brian Szpond, like I said, graduated 08. Moved to Kentucky 2013 in May. So it's been 10 years. Keep in touch with you all the time, like you said. Constantly giving you screenshots, or video recordings, like, hey, listen to your show, like, you touched on this, touched on that, you should maybe add on this. I definitely miss the beer reviews. I miss the beer reviews.
Okay.
I've tried a few. I'm like, that's pretty good. And the other ones, I'm like, nah, I'm not really a fan of IPAs. I'm not really a fan of, I like a good draft or a good lager. But I moved down to Kentucky 10 years ago. I love it. It's a lot different. Culture shock.
So I think one of the things that when we talked about before you hopped on the air here, my dad tried to get a little bit of the footnotes. He tried to ask. I was like, wait, don't answer it. Wait till he gets on the air. But one of the things that we wanted to ask you is, like, what is the biggest difference from where we lived at in Edison growing up to now living in Kentucky, man?
One of the biggest things was probably Bible Belt.
Okay.
Probably.
And for those that don't know, what is the Bible Belt?
Everything is, praise God. Jesus is king. Always put him first. So when I moved down there, I was just, I was still cussing like a sailor. I still do occasionally, but, after I moved down there, I was like, damn, Jesus is, like, really important, and church is really important. So, I started going to church every week. Like, if my mom and dad were like, no, we're not going to church, I was like, I'm going. Like, I need this. So. That's probably the biggest thing. We moved down to a dry county, which means there's no alcohol sales in that county. Probably about 3 or 4 years after we moved down there, it became moist, which means they would sell it in restaurants.
Okay.
So then it became moist, and then it's like, all right, now people are like, hey, we want more alcohol, we want more alcohol. So now it's all wet, which means now they'll sell it in liquor stores, restaurants, whatever. So.
And you know what the crazy thing is, Brian? I feel like we as New Jerseyans, or, the people that listen to the show, and I know you've left, but we as New Jerseyans never had to realize what that feels like to not be able to go down the street and go to Wick Plaza to get a little bit of alcohol, So, was that a big adjustment to you to, like, live in a county where, hey, this is completely dry?
Not really for me, because I wasn't really like a huge drinker. Like, I'm not like someone's just gonna go to the liquor store and just buy, just a beer and, go home and drink it. Like, that's really not my style. I'm more of a social drinker. It's like if I'm hanging with my buddies, have one with dinner or have two, whatever. I do not like to get drunk. I hate the feeling. My dad, when I grew up, as I was growing up, rather, he was an alcoholic. So a lot of my childhood was spent, going out with him. Unfortunately, like making sure he didn't get locked up. So it's I don't really like to touch on it too much, but that was always a sore subject, growing up. So,
but you know what? Those are the types of things that shape who we are as people. The things that we've experienced, and Brian, the thing that I know that you touched on is the fact that you learned being down south that the importance of higher being, and understand that Jesus is important. And what we've seen is that He's blessed you. With 2 beautiful new babies.
Right. 14 months old now. So they're not quite new, but they are, still on the little spectrum. My wife had COVID at 14 weeks pregnant. So our daughter, being the same blood type, she had COVID as well. Or she was affected by COVID, I should say. Excuse me. And at our 34-week growth scan, she was measuring right around 4 pounds, and we're like, oh shit, like she's gonna be small, And then scheduled C-section, 37 weeks, and she hadn't grown at all. And we're like, oh shit. And our son was 5 pounds, 5.7 ounces. She was 4 pounds, 4.7 ounces.
Wow.
And they sent off both of their placentas, sent off both their umbilical cords. Turns out that she had a not in her umbilical cord. It was starting to calcify, and the placenta was starting to calcify.
Wow.
And they say all this was due to COVID or related in some way to COVID. So we're blessed that she's even here. That's Layla. And then Alexander. I wanted a junior. My wife was like, absolutely not. She was, she was like,
hey, you gotta listen to the lady, man.
She was like, my dad's a junior. Every time they call Abel, they're like, he would answer and they were talking to his dad or vice versa. She was like, absolutely not. So I was like, you know what? I'm Brian Alexander. Flip flop it.
Yeah.
Alexander, Brian Szpond. So it works. So we got Alex and Layla. So yeah, appreciate that, man. 14 months old now.
And I think the greatest part was when I think you first had them, getting the pictures, from you, them side by side, and just seeing how excited you were, it gives me joy and like, damn, I couldn't, well, not I, but, there couldn't have been a better pick for a father because you prioritize your children, you prioritize your family. So like, I know that, but can you explain to the people just how important to you your family is?
Well, I mean, like obviously my wife, I try to do everything I can for her. But after we had the kids, it's like, well, damn, now I really have to put them. They really matter. Like they are helpless. Like they can't do anything for themselves, so they are number one. So. They come first. Obviously, my wife is right there with me. We're a team. So she takes them to daycare in the morning time while I go to work because I'm already at work. I go to work 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday. So I'll pick them up after work, and then they have about 2.5 hours of daddy time. So they get a little afternoon snack and a bottle or whatever, and a sippy cup, whatever it is, and we'll sit there and watch sports. My daughter, she's huge on Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel, you are a godsend. Thank you so much, Miss Rachel. Shout out to Miss Rachel.
Shout out to Miss Rachel.
Hello, Miss Rachel.
You put on Miss Rachel, she sits there and just stares, and she will watch. You try to bother her, she's like, no. She's like, don't bother me. My son Alex, he'll be like, yeah, what's up? You need something, Dad? But it's great, man. I love it. And they used to lay on my chest, one on each side, just sitting there, just watching sports, whether it's hockey, baseball, football, basketball, didn't matter. Now they're too big for that. So I kind of miss that, but now it's only one of them can lay there at a time.
Well, big shout out to my boy Eric Turner who's tuning in on Facebook Live. But, one of the things that he really is proud of is being a father. And, just hearing you talk about your children, it speaks the same volumes of just how proud you are to be a father. But, in a way, I feel like, a lot of people, and it's true that not a lot of people get that same opportunity to be a father and to see you taking advantage of that opportunity and making the most of it so that, your future and, it's just like, I guess where, where we come from, there's a lot of people that are fathers that don't act like fathers. You know what I'm saying? So to have my father who's been here all my life and, supported me to the fact where, he made me a bowler, and I think this is a great segue because for a lot of people that actually know me now, they know me as a bowler. But Brian, when I was in high school, would you like to tell the people out there what I was known for?
You were known for basketball. I mean, or at least I knew you for basketball. Did not know you for bowling. Right? Definitely not. Did not know you for bowling at all. I bowled. I was on the high school team all 4 years. Captain senior year with Steve Lorio. Shout out to Steve Lorio.
Shout out Steve Lorio.
And Samantha McDowell. She was the female captain of the girls squad. So shout out to her as well. But yeah, I definitely did not know you as a bowler. Just knew you as a basketball player.
I think that's one of the cool things, though, Brian, is that like as we go on later into life, we can really start to learn what we enjoy. And what I've seen is through my dad, through meeting various people, that I truly do enjoy bowling. So like for those people out there that may not have bowled, for you, Brian, who bowled in high school, what was it that drew you towards bowling,
Probably my parents, really. I grew up in the bowling alley. They bowled at Woodbridge Bowling Center, which I think is closed now. Is that right? Is it closed?
Yeah, we bowled the last season there, man. They shut down.
Damn, that sucks. I really like that house. But yeah, they would bowl there on Saturday nights. They would set up a little pack and play, and I was in there, every week. sitting there behind the counter where they would sit, and I'd watch them bowl or whatever. And I think around 4 or 5, I picked up my first bowling ball and joined the adult child league, and then we were going on little adult father-son tournaments or whatever, and then eventually transitioned to just me bowling for the high school and whatever. So eventually I was beating my dad. My dad's like, "Oh, you ain't gonna make." He's like, "You ain't gonna make the team." I'm like, "Yes, I will. I guarantee I'll make the team."
Ooh.
And freshman year, he was like, "If you make the team, I'll get you a 3-ball roller bag." I'm like, "Bet."
Ooh.
Bet. So Ken Bjornson was the coach at the time, and I bowled my first 3-game set or whatever, and it was I think 3 days worth of tryouts, 9 games. And they take your worst game and your highest game. I think they drop those, and then they average everything else. I think that's how they did. It's been so long. We graduated 15 years ago.
Dude, it's been
so
wild.
It's 19 years ago, in 2004. So I think that's how they did it. But so I made the team, and he was just like, "All right, I guess I'll go up to the pro shop and get you a ball bag." So I'm like, "All right, cool."
And I think the huge thing, Brian, that not a lot of people get the chance to do is, I played a college sport. I played college basketball. I played a high school sport, as you already know.
Mm-hmm.
But I never had the chance to be a captain until it was after, being in school. And I think that it came at the right time, because now I am in the point where I can be one. Yeah. So for you to be a captain at such a young age, what did it mean to you to be a captain of that bowling team?
Well, it was really important to me. Obviously, I took it with a lot of pride and a lot of respect to Miss Smith, Tracy Smith, who's still the bowling coach.
Saw her in league not too long ago.
Yeah, she took over our junior year for Ken, because he retired. She made me the captain, and I was just like, "Miss Smith, I'm not the best on the team. Like, I'm not the captain." She goes, "Yeah, but you're a leader." I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, You don't have like the selfishness to say it's me. So she was like, you put the team first, and that really showed my senior year. It was like one of our last games, maybe one of our last matches, whatever. And like we needed this to go into like whatever the GMC tournament or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah.
But I was bowling like dog crap. Like complete dog crap.
We've all been there.
Like, I just couldn't hit anything. I couldn't hit the backside of a barn, It's like the second game I was like, "Miss Smith, like take me out." She's like, "What do you mean? It's your senior year. It's like this is like one of the last tournaments or whatever." I was like, "Take me out." I was like, put in, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Chris St. Augustine or, whoever. But I said, put them in. I said, look over there at their scores. I said, they got 247 in their game over on the JV lanes. I said, put them in. And she's like, all right, if that's what you want. I was like, go ahead. I want to win. So sure enough, he bowls. I'm pretty sure it was Chris St. Augustine, but if it's not, I apologize. But, he went in, did his job, and we wound up winning, and we got the wood, so we got the overall win. So I was like, and then I didn't even know it, but she was like, make sure you're at Varsity Awards night. And I was like, I'm always at Varsity Awards night. Like, it is what it is, And little did I know that I was getting the Frank A. Red Award.
Damn.
And I was
and can you explain to those people that are not from Edison what that means?
The Frank A. Red Award, I think I was the first person to get it. I think they made it, like, during that season, and then like they've done it ever since. But I believe it's for discipline, dedication, teamwork, and loyalty. And I was just like, damn, this is an honor. Like I definitely did not expect this. I figured just to get my pin, put it on my varsity jacket. And, hey, thank you, appreciate it. It's been real, but I got that award, and it's hanging up on my wall.
That's all.
It's like you see it every day, so it's definitely something.
And I'm sure, like I said, it means a lot to you and to someone like Chris Shank Jr. who says, "Yo, I know that's my guy." It's huge. Tori said high school bowling is the best. Yeah. For a lot of people, they say that high school experience really set them apart. For me, that someone's late in the game. I wish I would have gotten a lot, of a start early, but I feel like I've been catching up a little bit and, having the ability to go bowl with my sister, my dad, my brother, TK, who's my sister's boyfriend, and also my friend and my brother as well, too. It's just been an amazing experience to, like, finally be on a team, Brian, that I just feel there's no holes. Like I feel like you just have such strengths, and for me, it's just been the whole sole reason why, again, I come out to bowl, to like spend time with my family, to get better. But to have those experiences, I think they're important for people,
for
man.
sure.
So for me saying that, where do you feel like now having, not that you don't have bowling to that degree anymore, what do you feel like you've supplemented to make sure that void is not there,
Well, I joined a men's wood bat baseball league in Louisville. It's not Louisville, by the way. I got yelled at when I first moved down there.
Louisville.
It's Louisville.
All right.
There was a Louisville Cardinal fan when I was working at Lexus of Louisville. And I said, "Hey, welcome to Lexus of Louisville. How can I help you today?" And she's like, "What'd you say?"
Louisville.
I was like, "Welcome to Lexus of Louisville." She's like, "It's Louisville." I was like,
"That's like my dad when he says Michigan."
So
we won't say that. Michigan. Did you watch Michigan?
But yeah. So I joined this baseball league with my buddy Jason. He lives down the road from me. He's His wife went to college with my wife, and they were best friends in college, or really good friends in college, whatever. So when they got married or they got together, whatever, like it just naturally, friend group, So he's like, "Hey, you play any sports?" I was like, "Well, I used to play baseball, back in the day. Didn't play in high school, I was playing lacrosse in the spring. I played football in the fall and bowled in the wintertime." He's like, "Bro, come out for this league. It's fun. At the time when he was playing, it was metal, and then people were just like blasting balls, crazy fast, and they were like, we need to go to wood." Like it was too dangerous. Like insurance was insane, so they were just like, "All right, we're gonna go to wood and make it a wood bat league." So I was like, "All right, cool. I'll join." So I played in that now for 4 seasons. I didn't do the best. I'm not the best out there. I'll be the first one to admit it. I'm not the best. I'm overweight, I'm old now, I'm 33, it's not,
I don't think any of us
MLB
George
players
Clooney,
are on their way out, and I'm just trying to come
anymore.
back in, so I mean, hell, I look like Daniel Vogelback out there, man. I'm freaking
Hey,
285 pounds.
He's got people that love him, though.
Oh, he did good today, man. But,
yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I played, I tried catching again for the first time in like 16 years, and my knees said, "The hell you are." So I just went back to third base like I did, also, playing baseball for Edison Boys Baseball, and played there for 3 years, and then this year the coach was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna transition you over to first base." I'm like, "All right, whatever." So played a couple games at first, whatever, and I did all right, but I think it's time for me to hang it up from baseball, really. Got to support the kids. It's tough to spend $350 and take 2 to 3 hours a day out of your time with your kids.
No, I mean, I totally get that, man. And I remember getting the screenshots from you, and just pretty much excited about how you got certain hits throughout the week, and that's how I feel with bowling. But sometimes and kind of what you literally talked about is just the sacrifice that it takes to not only make yourself happy, but make also the others around you happy. And I think one of the biggest sacrifices that we could talk about that has kind of attributed to your success is the fact that you did get married. You know what I'm saying? And I think that for some of the viewers that are, still out there single, mingling, out there in the streets, getting it, you know what I'm saying? I think that it's also good to hear the other side of the spectrum, and someone that is not in a relationship where you're like, "Oh, I hate this sucks, blah, blah, blah." So for you, I have a 2-part question. How did you know it was time to be like, "Yo, this is the woman that I want to marry"? And what do you think is some of the best parts about being married?
Well, I knew, obviously I was getting older. I was just like, I'm not just going to date just like mess around with girls. I'm not just going to try to, put another notch on the bedpost, so to speak. So I wasn't looking to hook up with girls. And, I was, I was 25, 26 when I met my wife, Heather. And we actually met on Tinder.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I wasn't looking for a hookup, but I was just like, hell, I've been down here in Kentucky now for 3 years. You know, it is what it is. You know, I wasn't looking for anything, but if something happened, something happened.
Let's get it shaking.
Yeah.
Let's get it shaking.
So like I said, I wasn't necessarily looking for anything. She wasn't really necessarily looking for anything. We were just putting ourselves out there, you know. And she was going to Bellarmine University, so she was up in Louisville. And I was working up in Louisville, traveling 75 miles each way, every day to work. It was hell. But anyway, you know, so we met up, whatever, and it was just like, hey, like, you know, our first date was at her condo, and the next day was at Buffalo Wild Wings the very next day. And then we just started hanging out, and I think it was like a month later I asked her to be my girlfriend.
Okay, all right.
That was July 4th, 2015.
Oh,
so
you are going to kill me, Brian.
So for the fireworks.
Now, my girlfriend's going to be like, you don't even remember our date. Where did we? You're going to have a tough sleep at night now, right? Damn, but
I didn't try to do that, man. But
nah, you know,
so then we were dating, you know, for another year or so, and August 16th, 2016, I asked her to be my wife. Actually, on her parents' farm. On her parents' farm, by the right at the pond where we fished, you know, whatever, and hung out and took walks or whatever. So she was like, "I'm gonna get engaged," and your dad's like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Look how giddy he is, you know, whatever." I was like, I ain't giddy. What are you talking about?" And she knew. She calls me out all the time on it. You know, she calls me out all the time. But I mean, her family loves me. I love her family. It's a good family. She's got 9 nieces and nephews. 2 sisters, 2 are older. Well, actually, all of her siblings are older. She's the youngest. But it's sister, brother, sister, and then her. So she's the youngest, and I'm the oldest in my family. So that was kind of trippy.
Wow,
you know,
kind of similar, Brian. Similar right now. Holy shit.
But yes, I mean, her family loves me. I love her family. You know, like I anytime her dad needs help, I'm like, yo, Abel, I got you. You know, I'll be over. You know, and I mean, it's 45 minutes away, you know, which is actually about 45 miles.
Wow.
So which is weird, you know, when I moved down to Kentucky, it was like they don't tell how far something is with minutes. They say, oh, it's 45 miles. So you'll get there in 45 minutes.
What?
You know, like here, like 13 miles. Like I experienced this yesterday coming back from, or Friday rather, I should say, when we were coming back from Ellis Island. It was like, oh, it's a 20-mile drive. It's going to take you an hour and 15 minutes. I was like, what the hell? Yeah. I was like, this is one thing I do not miss about Jersey is the damn traffic.
Dude, but, it is everywhere, bro.
So to answer your question, you know, like, I just knew, like, you know, it was time to settle down. She seemed like right when she's a good girl. She's a Catholic girl. So she's got a good religious background. We got married at her church, St. Dominic's in Springfield, Kentucky.
Okay.
So she's got a good foundation there. Her mom's always praying. When our kids have had any kind of health issues, always prayed for them, give them the holy water, you know, and everything was like that. So I was like, good, solid family. You know, good, solid family. You know, I need to be a part of that. And now, you know, she's definitely a rock. You know, she's always there for me, supports me in my sports. You know, obviously our kids. You know, so. She's one to lean on, and then every once in a while, you know, she'll lean on me back. So.
Hey, but you know what? That's how you know you're in a non-toxic relationship, because I feel like, you know, both sides you can give, and, you know, to the people out there that in a way feel like that hope or that possibility that something that you have is not possible. I'm happy that you can come here on the show and tell people that, you know, you can live a committed life and have happiness within a committed relationship and not be in these streets thoughting. And, you know, not to say that's not wrong for those people that do enjoy that, but I think that there's a certain level of happiness that comes from, you know, a committed relationship, and I'm happy that you're having that joy. Yeah. And to those people that do listen in, you know, in time, I feel like, you know, to your point, how important is it to kind of let that happen organically as opposed to like forcing that and kind of pushing expectations on that?
Oh, for sure. You know, I always tell, you know, people that are like, oh man, it sucks, I'm almost 30, or I am 30 and I'm still single. I'm like, bro, let the girl come to you.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah, pump the brakes. You know, like you might be trying too hard. You know, you might be putting yourself out there and they're like, oh man, this guy, what the hell's wrong with him, you know? Like, hold your horses, let that shit happen naturally, let the girl come to you. If you're doing what you need to be doing, you got a good job, you're making the good money or whatever, and you're being yourself, the right one will find you.
I have to agree with you there, Brian, because, I feel like when I worked on myself, when I took the time to heal, I think that when my eyes were open, the right thing did come my way, and I didn't want to fumble that bag,
Right.
And I think that that's hope to everyone out there. But I don't want to get all sappy and shit, because that's not what the talk show's all
Too
about.
late.
This guy Barry's getting fucking soft. But
fucking pussy.
Right. So we're gonna shift it a little bit here before I throw up. But we gotta talk about it. Our Mets, they haven't been to our liking. Even though we had a great talk show outing yesterday, our Mets have failed us as far as production wise. So can you explain what it's been like as an out of state fan, but still a diehard Mets fan, to see this season unfold?
Oh, for sure. I was so optimistic when the season was about to kick off. I was like, man, we got hell lineup. I was like, we have the lineup, in my opinion, in the MLB. It was lights out for what I thought. And I moved down there, and I'm just like, I have to have MLB, the at bat or whatever it is, the streaming service. I was like, I have to have that.
Yeah.
I have to watch my Mets. Pix 11, SNY, whatever. I took it for granted, when I was here, so I didn't watch as many games. Surprisingly, when I was here, I was just like, I could just, whenever I want, I could throw on a game. Moved down to Kentucky, it's like, damn, everything's just the Reds, or
you're not trying to watch the Reds.
No,
even though they did play the Mets, but that only happens so many times.
Right. So I was just like, I definitely need to get the MLB app and definitely stream them. So naturally watching Pete Alonso, 2019, I was at the Mets versus the Reds game when he hit number 50. I was there at the Great American Ballpark. We had visited here in Jersey, went to New York, whatever, then went to Cincinnati to come back home, and I was like, on the way home, we're catching a game.
And you got to see that was a milestone.
Yeah. He hit 53 that year, and I was just like, man, I was recording it, and I was just like, crack, number 50, number 50. Yeah. I was like, holy crap. So watching him, come from, he was a little chubbier. He's definitely leaned out. Got a lot more power now, from what I see. He's come a long way. Then we signed Lindor. We got, this all-star shortstop, and some people say he's trash. I'm like, no, he's definitely not trash. He might be a little off at times. He's definitely not trash. And then you got Nimmo out there in center. Brett Beatty now in third. Jeff McNeil's all over the damn place doing what he does. He's have a little bit of struggle right now with his bat, but he'll come around. So I'm still optimistic. So, and Francisco Alvarez, 23 home runs.
I was hoping you was going to talk. I was about to say, you going to forget about my boy? What's up?
No.
Yeah, I think he had a double yesterday, did he not? When we were at the game?
I'm not too sure. I was at my cousin's wedding, so I didn't catch the game. But you were there in person. You should.
I was. I think he roped the double down the left field line. But I think one of the things that you talked about, that I definitely want to touch on was Pete Alonso. Now, one of the things that I learned in college, when I played college basketball at York College in Pennsylvania, that not everybody that wears the same jersey as you can be a great teammate to you. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say that it's not just wearing the same jersey as someone to be a teammate. I've had people in my life that have treated me way better and way differently and have never worn the same jersey than me that I would actually call my teammates. So, the way that I want to relate this is there are the same regards like Pete Alonso in the locker room where they hold this guy up here and saying he is the ultimate teammate.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important to bring this up to hear your vantage point to say that there are people saying that we should trade this guy.
Definitely
saying that Pete Alonso is someone that needs to be on the trading block. So as a true Mets fan and knowing the importance of what it is to have an actual teammate, what would you say is the importance of Pete Alonso being on this team? And do you think he should be traded?
Hell no.
Ooh, okay.
He should be a Met for life. Do I think you should sign him to a 10-year deal and $400 million? No. Because I think then people get complacent when you give them those big deals. You see all these superstar guys that are supposed to be, phenomenal players, and then all of a sudden you see their numbers drop. Or at least that's what I see in my eye. Or I see that they don't give enough effort, or they don't give the same amount of effort. They're like, oh man, I just cashed out. I got money, boom, and it's like, well, now you're not producing. So if you give them a 2-3 year deal, and give them a decent amount of money, now like they're still hungry. They still want that money, but they're also going to produce for your team. They're like, I want to get re-signed. I want to get more. So I think it keeps them hungry. And as a teammate, you should always want to be there. Like Lindor says, like Nimmo says, they're like, Pete Alonso is that guy. In my opinion, like I said on your show one day, I commented on it. He is the modern day David Wright, in my opinion. He's that locker room guy.
And I think that it's important when you have a locker room guy like that to strengthen and bolster your locker room. In a way, it kind of helps to create that culture, I think that winning culture is established by everyone buying in. You know what I'm saying? Everybody saying, hey, we're all going towards that common goal. And unfortunately, for the Mets' sake, the staff just did not reciprocate the production that was necessary. But, that doesn't stop us from our fandom. Yeah. We have Tyree who says Alonso should be a Met for life.
Amen.
We got Robert Brantley. I hate these people. They're dumb. You can't let the polar bear go. And it's true.
Yep. 100%.
But at the end of the day, I don't want to flip the script and say that everything is so bad. Because, like I said, I did have some people at York College in Pennsylvania that wound up being some that were great teammates to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't want that comment to be misconstrued. But what I am saying and what I'm trying to drive home is that just because you wear the same jersey as someone doesn't make them your teammate all the time. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I also say this is because as I have, went forward into my bowling career, I played a college sport. I played college basketball. I played, high school baseball, high school basketball. Yeah. But it wasn't until bowling with my dad that I actually won substantial money where, I looked at the end of the night and I'm like, damn. I like shooting basketball, but fuck, I just made my whole paycheck double in one night.
Right.
So bowling has provided me, that option to, bank in on my skills. But I think one of the most underrated things is the fact of meeting these people and meeting people that, wind up being your teammates and you establish these lifelong relationships. So my question to you is, in your experiences, who was kind of the best teammate that you had?
That's a tough question.
Right?
I really have to think about it. Through all the years I've played sports, like since I was 5, like Pop Warner football for the Edison Jets, Edison Boys baseball, when I was 5 and all that. I couldn't even tell you like one like that stands out to me really. I mean, I've had some really great teammates, and then I've had ones that are not so great. So that's kind of a hard question to answer really.
Well, I'll say this. I'll start off with this. One of the best teammates that I have is this hard-headed motherfucker sitting right in front of me. And that is my dad. I gotta tell you right now.
I knew it.
This guy is one of the best teammates because even though, we may be bowling like doo-doo or, not exactly putting our best foot forward.
Yeah.
My dad's still the type of guy that we've kind of embodied that. I'm not there when you want me, I'm there when you need me. And I know when it comes down to the 10th frame and I need somebody to just get that double, I'll still put my money on Pops. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's that clutch factor, that reliability that just makes my dad one of the best teammates that I've ever had. Sure enough, there's
props
some.
to your pops.
Hey, and Brian, there's some days where I want to tell this motherfucker, I'm like, bro, just listen, put that ball down, man. It ain't working.
Yep, it ain't working.
I listened Thursday.
Right?
Don't blame the lanes. Come on, make that adjustment.
Yeah.
But we're all hard-headed at times, so But again, I truly value the importance of having the right teammates around me, and what it's put for us as a couple top 10 finishes, couple top 5 finishes. So for me, I'm very proud of accomplishing being a collegiate sport athlete. Whether I played a lot in basketball, it's neither here nor there. I take pride in baseball and being a teammate to a lot of people in those aspects. But one of the things, like I said, that I've taken most pride is being a captain of my UBA team, and that was something that I was appointed. I was never a captain of everything in my life, but like you talked about earlier on in the show, when Miss Smith said that you're a leader, I think that it really means something when you are a leader, because a lot of times I think about people that are on the side of the road all the time, Brian, that are trying to get people to, donate $5 and give them that, right?
Yeah.
There are people out there and these leaders that can truly get and guide people to go in the right direction. And, to see that you were noticed as that at such a young age, it separates you, man. And it's something that even though it took me to being 32 to achieve, to be a captain, it's something that I don't take lightly, right? So I think that the point that I'm trying to get here is that, even in our age, and you talked about being 33 and getting old and maybe trying, to retire baseball, there are some lessons that I continue to learn through the game of bowling and through the sport of bowling that continues to propel me forward and continues to help me build the character of who I am, right? So my question to you is, through sports or through anything of that nature, what has been like the biggest lesson to you that's kind of helped you to propel you forward and to make you who you are?
Probably the biggest lesson would probably be to not try to do it yourself.
So can you elaborate on that?
Don't try to put the pressure on yourself to make that play happen. Let your teammates, don't necessarily put the pressure on them, but let them also contribute to it. If we're down, in baseball, by 2 runs or whatever, just tell the next couple guys, hey, just get on base. Get an RBI. Hit a double and score 2. We just chip at it. Play small ball if you have to. Bunt up the third base line for a suicide squeeze to bring that guy home on third. Do the little things to help out your team. Don't try to hit a grand slam. Don't try to hit a home run for a 3-run shot. Don't try to strike out the side, and finish the game. Let your defense work.
Yeah, and I think that, a lot of times when you see people that are pressing, when you see that they're squeezing the ball a little bit, that's when those mistakes start to happen.
Yeah.
So, in a way, like you're saying, trusting your defense and trusting the people that you wear the same jersey with, I think it's a great point to people to understand, man. And you don't have to be a Division I scholarship athlete to understand that.
Yeah.
And, I think that, for you to come here on the show, with the sacrifice that it took to not only come here, and I think we kind of had to schedule it around where you switched it from a Friday to now being on a Sunday. We took the accountability of making this happen. Yeah. And I think
we still brought you an episode.
Right? We still brought you an
episode.
Come on, man. And I'm just so happy that we were able to make this happen because, Brian, one of the greatest joys that I ever had, and I'm not even trying to bullshit, is getting a screenshot from you And I could tell it was dark as fuck outside because, it was not light out. You can see from the dashboard.
Yeah.
But, getting that screenshot from you saying, like, hey, I'm on the way to work and I'm listening to you working right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the greatest compliment that anyone can ever
and I
give.
constantly try to give you feedback, and say, hey, like, this happened today in sports, or, did you see so-and-so happen, or did whatever, and I try to, like, hey, can you elaborate on that in the show? So I try to help you out, even though I'm 800 miles away.
Hey.
It's a little tough sometimes, but it is what it is. You know the vibes. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I do know the vibes, Brian. But before we hop off the air, I got one more question to you because this was one of the most talked about topics. Even when we were at the Mets game, I had a couple people asking me about this, and I want to get your point on this before we hop off the air. But we saw that there was a rule that was passed in the NBA that is kind of limiting whether you can rest your star players, right? And that's been getting a little bit of backlash from some of the teams. But as someone like you that is hardworking and maybe would want to take your family to see a game, how would you feel if, someone like LeBron takes a night off and you spent that hard-earned money? So, my question to you is, how do you think about this rule about the players, getting limited on being able to get rested?
Well, I mean, I don't. To be honest with you, I really don't watch a lot of pro basketball. Kentucky is primarily a collegiate basketball, state.
Okay.
I still try to follow the Knicks because my grandpa, he passed away in 2016. So out of respect for him, I always try to watch the Knicks, at least a couple games a year.
Hey, I knew I liked you, man.
Like whenever they're versing Memphis or they're versing, Indiana, I try to catch those games that are actually aired. But everyone needs rest. But when you're getting paid that much to do a job, you need to go out and do your job. I'm not trying to say like do your fucking job 110% every damn day until you freaking get hurt to where your career's ended. I'm not saying that, but you're there to do a job. So go out there and perform. If you are legit banged up. Like where you got a dislocated finger and you can't shoot the ball. That's a different story. You got a knee that's tweaked and you can't run up and down the court. That's a different story. But if you're like, man, I'm just tired. I'm not feeling it today. I'm just gonna take the day off now. Get your ass out there and play.
Yeah, and I think that I wish that a lot of people thought with that same mentality that you do, because one of the greatest stories that I like to bring up when we bring this up is Kobe, and he said that. For all the people that spent their hard-earned money to see me play, I'm going to make sure I'm out there, man. I just wish that players,
that Mamba mentality.
Yeah, that Mamba
grinding,
mentality, man. Yeah. But, in closing, I just want to thank you so much for, coming here on the show, sacrificing some time to make this happen on a Sunday for the people. The show. Yep. You know what's probably coming here. I always like to give my guests a little parting, comment to try and help some of my viewers and listeners out there. So, Brian, if you could give a word of advice to the viewers out here to make them a little bit better tomorrow, what would that advice be?
Don't be complacent. Always, strive for more. Do your best. You never know when your time's coming, so always put your best foot forward. Even though I'm 33, I just finished up some schooling for my job, so now I'm on to another level of my job. So it's like you're always learning something. So always strive for more. That's going to help my family out, with more money. Never stop the grind. Keep on going.
And I think that is a perfect way to end this show. Never stop the grind. Because something like we've, experienced, Brian, we're being from episode 1, not understanding what I wanted to talk about, not understanding what a format of a podcast was like. I think there's a certain level of fear that comes with uncertainty. Yeah. And I think that once you, in a way, just rid yourself of that fear, then you'll start to see the fruition of your hard work. And what you've seen from you is the ability to change. You grew up in Edison, and now you're living a safe, healthy life in Kentucky where you can provide for your family.
Yeah.
I think that it shows that, if you're willing to make changes, there is something better out there for you, man. Right. So I'm just happy to have you here. I'm happy that you came here on the show, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, come on, man.
Thank you.
How many people can give you 50 minutes of entertaining dialogue, man?
I
and it was just
you having me, man.
Dude, and one of the things that was funny, because when you came here to my house a little bit earlier, I was telling my dad, don't ask him too many questions, because I want this to be completely organic. So I promise this is my last question before I hop off. What is your favorite part of Talk That Talk Show? I know you talked about the beer review. We're going to try and bring that back. But what would you say right now is your favorite part of Talk That Talk?
That you keep it real. Probably that you keep it real. Nothing is scripted. Obviously, right here we don't have anything in front of us, to tell us what we need to talk about. It's all organic. Like he was about to ask me questions. You're like, "Oh, pops, pump the brakes there." Don't ask him. So, I mean, everything I'm talking about. I'm nervous as hell. I have to say, I've been stuttering a little bit. My hands are fucking shaking. That's what I'm keeping here in my lap. My heart's been fucking pounding the whole time. Like I don't public speak. I don't do this every week like you do. So it's all organic. Even the people you have on the show, they're all real. They keep it real and talk about real shit.
But I appreciate
everyone keep on keeping it real,
right? I mean, come on, man. I mean, if I was to come here and profess I was something I was not, it wouldn't mean Talk That Talk Show when you see people rocking that shit, man. So I appreciate you so much for coming here on the show, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Another episode in the books, guys. We're gonna get this out there and edited. So that you can see it on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, you name it. We're on all streaming platforms. And I'm going to continue to give you guys 100% of my authentic self and try and bring more, great guests on here like Brian. You never know what you're going to get with the Talk That Talk Show. Yeah. Now that we have our NFL schedule back on, aside from this episode right now, we will continue to try and record every Friday, all right? Not Sundays anymore. We will be recording on Friday nights so that you guys can enjoy your Sunday night football, because, hell, I want to enjoy it too, right? Yeah. We got to watch these Dolphins cover, right?
17-3 right now, it looks like. My Dolphins are up. So.
Hey, let's hope the Dolphins don't break our hearts tonight, man. But hey, I love you guys. I will see you all next week. This is the Talk That Talk Show.
Talk That Talk!
Thank you once again to my boy Brian Szpond.